Hi, welcome to Creative Strategy and the Profit System. First things first, if you have not watched Luke and Taylor's videos that came before mine, you should totally go back and check them out. I think they'll be super helpful to you in your learning process. But if you have, then you are in the right place. I am the Director of Creative Strategy and Performance here at CTC, and I'm going to walk you through how our creative strategists work in the Prophit system. So first things first, I want to take a bit of a step back and really ground us in the sort of CTC's core belief about creative. And that is that good creative brings your growth strategy to life, and it is the perfect pair for your media plan. It makes your media matter to the consumer. But great creative works. Great creative drives a measurable business result for your brand. And when you're working with CTC, that result is profitable growth. So how do we get started in this system, in the Prophit system? Well, you know from Luke's video that the growth strategists, when they are getting started, the first thing they do is dive deep in your data. They onboard all of your data and information. They make sure everything's working at tip-top shape and stat list, and they build out your growth. And in the growth map, that's where they're building out your 2-year-long look for your P&L and all of the daily targets and critical pieces of information that we'll need to make sure that we are on track for driving profitable growth day by day. So while the GS is doing that, your creative strategist, your CS, will be working on a deep dive into your brand to develop the ultimate brief. This is a document that brings together your brand essence and truths with the media essentials that will ground future creative development. So you can see on the left side here and up around the top, we have more high-level brand information like key competitors and mentor brands, like your brand personality and benefits and attributes and your target customer. But then you come further over to the right here, and what you'll see are things that are a lot more media and consumer-facing that help transition us towards execution. So we have offers, which will be where we define the key offers that we want to focus on, whether that is, time periods or more specifically products. What's going to drive the best contribution margin? What has incredible AOV or LTV? So that we will define and advance. Where do we want to focus our energy? And then we think about angles, which are sort of creative expressions of your brand benefits, of your attributes, of your USPs, but customized to speak to your different target audiences. So these are different ways in to the brand to get consumers in and to get them to convert. And then last, we have 4 Peaks. And 4 Peaks is our sort of year-long calendar planning system that sets you up for profitable growth and good cash flow. So most businesses will plan for 2 peaks a year. It might be back to school and, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But we want to help you plan out 4 key moments in your year look that will help you bring in revenue and keep your business on a growth track. So once we have this ultimate brief locked in, we move then into the more executional phases of how our creative strategists work in Prophit system. So one of the first places we go is to the marketing calendar. This is a tab in your growth map. You'll have constant access to it. And you can see here on the left, this is where we plan out each month's key marketing. Everything gets its own line item, and we track important information here. But I think really critically about this marketing calendar, and the reason why it's in the growth map, is that it also connects very directly to our media planners. So each of these line items here on the left connect into the trackers that our media team, like our meta team, use to build out their day-by-day plans. What's awesome then is that information also comes back here into the marketing calendar. So you can see on the right, each field here showcases the different creative concepts that are launching on each of these key days in your marketing calendar. So the next step in that executional phase, after we've got that calendar planned out for the month, is like the moment where the rubber really hits the road. This is where we come up with the creative concepts that will ultimately become campaigns in your account. Each Wednesday, your growth your media and your creative strategists all meet together to work here in the concept log. What is the concept log? It is, again, another tab in your growth map. And this is where we do all of our creative concept planning. So we bring together, as you can see here at the top, the offer, the audience, and the angle strategy for all of your concepts for the month. So what audiences do we need to be hitting? What different offers do these audiences get? How might we speak to them differently? But if you click here and we go take a look at the growth map, like a live version of this growth map, you can see that when you continue scrolling to the right, you pass that offer audience angle. Now we start to get into a deeper overview of the creative formats we'll be using, and then the landing pages, the copy, and the images that the team will need to use to traffic your ads live. So we've connected the creative development directly to the trafficking. And then further to the right, you will see the media planning numbers that we've put together here, right? Things like ROAS, AOV, margin, break-even CPA, etc. All of these different pieces of information are really useful to us, in particular, because those items are used to map out what every concept is projected to spend based on your unique account performance. It gets updated all the time. And it allows us to know whether or not we have planned enough creative for your account to meet your spend goals efficiently in that time period. So this really is that place where we bring together growth, media, and creative to do all of this work to make sure that the creative concepts we develop for you are the right ones for your custom and unique media plan. But I think you've probably heard me say the word creative concepts several times and might not know what that means. So I figured I'd give you a little bit of an explanation. So concepts for us, it's defined as a creative idea that sits at the intersection of offer, audience, and angle. The offer being the what, the audience being the who, and the angle being the why. And these for us are really sort of the fundamental building block within our creative development methodology. And we use these to help us both make sure that we are doing like careful, thoughtful, strategic, creative planning, but also to help us scale quickly when we need to. How do we achieve scale when it comes to this? Well, first of all, each concept actually becomes 3 different ads. Now, what do we mean by an ad? We mean the unit that the consumer actually sees when they look at their phone and, get served their ad or they're on their computer. The ad is a unit the consumer sees. So we, for each concept, come up with 3 different creative expressions of that concept to see what we can test and what we can learn from the consumer, what resonates with them. You'll also see a little further to the right that we have different size variations. Now, we don't think of these as distinctly separate ads because the system doesn't treat them that way. We think of these as just like the blocking and tackling basics that you've got to have for each one of your ads so that Meta, for example, can optimize the delivery of your ad to the place where it is converting best, whether that be feed or story, etc. So the ad is, there's 3 ads per concept, and each ad is going to have a couple of sizes, but the ad is what the consumer sees. So how then do we sort of bring this to life, and how do we think about continuing to make more scale out of this approach? Well, a concept becomes an ad when we kind of detail out all of these pieces of information and bring them into a creative expression. So we start with an offer. For example, we're mocking something up for Solo Stove, imagining that we were developing creative for them. So our first offer would be the Bonfire 2.0 bundle. Who is the audience that we want to connect with? Women and men, 25 to 35, interested in outdoors, fitness, parties, and entertaining. Okay. So what about the Bonfire 2.0 bundle or the experience of this product would be appealing to that audience? That's where we get to the angle. So the angle that we're putting together here is called Gather Your Friends Around the Fire. And you can really see that on the right. We have this image that we've selected of younger folks who will look like they're having a nice time in the outdoors around their bonfire with a Solo Stove. right? We're going to highlight the good times, the memories that are created by bringing our friends together in one place around a fire. So this is how a single concept becomes a single ad. But how do we then use this to scale? Well, we use this to scale, this methodology to scale, because when you change one of these ideas, or one of these items, the offer, the audience, the angle, you have a new creative concept. So for example, gather your friends around the fire. That's a great concept. What would that concept look like, sound like if you were targeting retirees as opposed to women and men 25 to 35? Once you make that change, now you have a new concept. So this is how we're able to grow the number of concepts fairly quickly, but still do that within this really strategic framework. So that is how a concept comes in an ad. The concept log is where we plan our concepts and make sure they match our media plan. The marketing calendar fuels and directs our efforts in the concept log. And then the ultimate brief is really what provides us with this grounding in your brand and your goals, so that everything we do is pulling all in the same direction and driving profitable growth for you. So thanks for listening to this talk. And I hope that this was helpful in giving you a sense of how creative strategists here at CTC interact with the Prophit system.